Hello and welcome to another Tea and Tights Brit Wres Showcase. This is our first showcase episode of 2023. We are, of course, Tea and Tights, the Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on bodyslam.net and the Channels Podcasting Network. Today we are joined by a very special guest, a 5-year competitor who's been making a name for himself in the Midlands of the UK wrestling scene. He has been competing for the likes of Elevation Wrestling, Phenomenal Elite Wrestling, Future Wrestling, Full Force Wrestling, Win Wrestling, and many more. He has the best Big Daddy moniker in all of Brit Wres. He is Big Daddy Unicorn, Jason Joshua. How are you, Jason?
Hello. I'm good. I'm even better after that introduction. I can see Dan's heart breaking. I can just see it.
I'm sorry, Big Daddy Dan, but Big Daddy Unicorn is better, and I have told you this on
You
many
have
occasions.
repeatedly.
Yes. It's great to have you on, of course, today, part of the Phenomenal Elite Wrestling roster. You have actually been live for all three of Dan's ring announcing jobs. How do you think Dan's done?
I think he's done great.
Yeah.
Hey, you're being face. I love you.
Yeah. Like when you took over at Pew it wasn't last minute, was it? But it wasn't what you normally do there, and then smashed it. And then obviously you did a hell of a job at Full Force. Like, yeah, I can't complain about it. You get all my bits and bobs right, and yeah.
Thank you. Full Force was interesting because that show, let's just talk about that show quickly. That show was a mystery show.
Yeah.
So basically, every match had a mystery opponent apart from your match, and your match had a mystery stipulation, which was brilliant.
Yeah, mixed. Ended up being a mixed tag team match.
Mhm.
Um,
And you
yeah,
chose a great tag team partner for your opponents, didn't you?
yeah. So I wrestled Joey Scott, and I don't like Joey Scott. Um, may have seen I've wrestled him quite a few times, and we've done street fights, title matches, tag matches, and he just won't leave me alone. So I thought, I know what will sort him out. We'll do a mixed tag, and I'll get his mum in the ring.
His untrained 60-year-old mother.
Yeah, 59.
Oh, my apologies. I've got heat with everybody now.
Don't you dare age Diane Scott.
And then you got him to her to turn on her own son.
I did.
You evil, evil man.
I did.
And it wasn't like you chose yourself a weak tag team partner, did you?
No, I had a great tag team partner.
You
We
did indeed.
smashed it.
The
Yes,
Welsh princess, Nadia
Yeah.
Sapphire.
Me and Nadia, just natural tag team. Did you not see all them tag moves?
You did flow together beautifully.
Yeah. Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. I think a combination dong attack and hip attack would be just the absolute best finisher ever.
Oh yeah, we made sure we found space for that. A really silly note on that. So there was a point in that match where I just threw Joey into Nadia's bum. Basically like a turnbuckle,
Yeah.
head first to a turnbuckle. And Joey got backstage afterwards and he went, I thought that was going to be softer. And it legitimately knocked him loopy because Nadia has got a solid bottom and it made him go a bit, yeah.
I do not know Nadia well enough to comment on said posterior, but that is information. That is information.
Yeah, of all the things that can knock you out.
That was a great match. That was a great show. I really enjoyed that. And there was a really good surprise in that show for the fans as well that wasn't leaked beforehand, unlike some surprises at other shows that we'll get to in a bit. Warhorse was there.
Yes. Yeah, it was. How good was that main event? So good. Martin Kirby, Jason Jacobs, and Warhorse. It was so good.
Yeah.
Like all three of them are great.
Does he maintain that energy backstage throughout?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like he's permanently on energy drinks in like a really nice way. Like he's just good to be around. He's a very nice man.
He gave me a good explanation of part of his wardrobe and gave me advice on an 80s heavy metal band that I still haven't remembered to look up. So that's just reminded me to do that. Jason Jacobs.
Yes.
Now, I hadn't really come across him before. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on him in the future. He has got star written all over him because he's a big boy. Bit bigger than Will Cruz, and he can move.
Yeah,
he can properly move. When he did that off backwards spin kick off the second rope,
yeah, it's like a spinning wheel kick, but like a springboard. Yeah,
and he went halfway across the ring.
Yeah, he's insane. He's mad, and he's just kind of been hidden away because I can't tell you this for sure, but I think it's confidence. But he's insane. And now he's full force British heavyweight champion. So
I think sometimes heavyweights tend to be a bit more local, where some of the lighter weight guys tend to get a bit more buzz about them. But the UK wrestling heavyweight scene, there are so many fantastic talents out there, and it's about time that they got their due, I think, because heavyweight wrestling coming back 2023.
I think it's definitely a big part of British wrestling, and we, like in the UK, have quite a good. Oh, they're big, but they can move. Whereas you get that in America and stuff, but you also get a lot of Americans that it's just they're big. But you come over to the UK, Will Cruz, Jason Jacobs, people like that, can launch you across the ring, but can launch themselves across the ring just as quick, and it's scary.
Now, we're talking about big men, and we've discussed our moniker. I want to get your take on this. Andy and I argue constantly about Big Daddy and his importance in British wrestling. Now, I agree with Andy that he wasn't necessarily the best wrestler in the world.
No.
But he's got to be top 3 of people to come out of Britain, sheerly, that's great wording, isn't it? Purely for what he did for British wrestling and what everybody knew him. He was bigger than anything. What's your opinion on Big Daddy in British wrestling?
So I'm just going to say first, I didn't get my name from him, but I understand the importance of him. I think him and Haystacks, neither of them were technical wrestling masters, but if it wasn't for them, like there wouldn't have been there would have been World of Sport, but it wouldn't have got to the level it did. They're the ones that sort of broke out the scene. I knew who they were before I liked wrestling. My nan knew who they were. My dad knows who they are. Like they were sort of the first ones that sort of moved beyond wrestling, even though they only wrestled. Like I think they're massively important.
See, my way of looking at it is, as I say, McManus was just as important to the 60s era of wrestling as Big Daddy was to the 70s, 80s. And at least he was a fantastic wrestler at the same time.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fantastic wrestlers. Fit Finlay, is one of the best to ever come out of the UK ever.
Yes.
Although technically, does he come out of the UK?
Yeah, but he had to leave the UK scene because of guys like Big Daddy. This is my issue with him mainly, is the fact that he forced so many of our best wrestlers off to Japan and America and kept the spotlight.
Yeah, but
not that I get, he sold out Wembley, the whole giant Haystacks, but guys like Mick McManus and Chris Robinson, all these guys, Billy Robinson again, I think were just as important to their eras as Big Daddy was, and at least they were amazing competitors.
I do think there's a lot of forgotten people because of people like Big Daddy, but I don't think that should take away from what people like Big Daddy did.
I think that's fair.
So yeah, I've taken us off on a complete fucking tangent there, but yay.
Well, let's stay on the tangent and go. If you were to have your Mount Rushton of Brit Wres, of any era, any person, guys that mean either so much to you or what they've done for the scene, what 4 names would you put forward?
I'm going to say the one everyone says because it's obvious. William Regal. Absolutely number one. I've got to say Fit Finlay again because they're obviously not the only ones to break the scene, but like they're the ones that you sort of go to that broke through in like the 90s, and it was kind of the first thing. It was like, oh shit, are we allowed to swear? Sorry.
Yeah, go for
We
it.
ain't monetized.
Yeah.
It's one of them things of, oh, someone from the UK's made it to the big leagues. I don't know. There's so many people you could pick. I've got to say, not necessarily for the wrestling, but Kendo Nagasaki, because I don't know if this is just rumor, but I heard stuff about him being not straight, and whether it was true or not, it was one of them things of, okay, that means there's people like me in the scene. I don't know if it ever turned out to be true. I don't want to be outing an old man, but it was just a rumor I heard, and it was one of them things that was like, oh, there's more of us. And again, even if it turned out to be complete rubbish, it kind of opened your eyes to it. A fourth one.
He came out as bisexual in 2018.
Yeah, I thought he had, but I didn't want to outright say without confirming it.
Yeah.
It was just one of them ones of, well, if he's done it all, and then, again, not necessarily for the wrestling, because I'll be honest, I haven't seen loads of his wrestling, but I have seen what he does. Like, he randomly pops up at shows now.
And what mythology he built.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that he was the first one, I think, to really do that double mask as well. So if you pulled off the first mask, he still had another mask on, so you still never knew who he was.
Yeah.
And he had the flamboyant manager as well, which might have added to that mystique that you were mentioning. But
it sounds so silly to say it, but it makes a difference for personally myself, and I'm guessing other people, because I delayed wrestling. I was going to go wrestle when I was 18, and I didn't, because without any justification for thinking it, they're not going to want a gay lad there. They're not going to want someone that's queer. And I bottled it, and I didn't start training until I was 23. And that's only because my other half pushed me to do it and told me to get over myself. So hearing that there are queer people out there, bi people, trans people, it makes a massive difference. And when people go, oh, it doesn't need to be brought up, it doesn't need to be mentioned. Yes, it does. Because straight people have had that influence growing up. A lot of gay people haven't. So someone like that who did all that stuff to go, okay, yeah, it's years after his career, but still done it. Number 4. I don't know. I went off on a tangent, didn't I? There's so many good wrestlers. And I feel like I've picked a load of people from the past, and I could pick a bunch of other people, but Martin Kirby's got to be like one of the best going.
You are the first person to pick Kirby. You shouldn't be. You definitely shouldn't be. You are. And yes, he is.
You sure? Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, first person for Kirby. Yeah, his influence on the scene should not be underrated from a Yorkshire lad. And he toured the entire UK scene. He had opportunities to go to Japan. Sometimes
He went over to Japan. They liked him that much that they went, stay longer. And that was his goal. He wanted to do Japan, and he did everything he wanted to do. And then he missed it, got in the best shape of his life, and came back. And he didn't come back and go, I'm going to take over. I'm going to be the main event of every show. He's the main event of shows because he's great, but he's also sat backstage with me, chatting the absolute shit that I chat, to plan as a match, to help me improve, to give me feedback, to be one of the nicest people you can meet backstage. Like, you don't hear a bad word about him, and there's a reason for that.
I really have enjoyed seeing how heelish he is to the kids at PEW. That perfect balance of not being condescending to them, but pissing them off. I think
Yeah, he's not afraid to make a twat of himself.
No.
Yeah.
Which is a massive thing, because you always have that thing in the back of your head, even when your job is to act like a tit, not to act like a tit. Where Kirby gets told, you're a chicken shit, he goes and does it. You're a serious, he goes and does it. You're an ultimate babyface, goes and does it. Go out there and have match of the night, goes and does it. Go out there and have comedy, goes and does it.
I was
We've
going to
wrestled
say,
twice. By the time he's come up to me and gone, let's do the dick spot. Like, he's just a great human.
Kirby, when he does comedy wrestling, it even makes me a fan of comedy wrestling. His timing down to everything is just so spot on. His ring psychology, he just seems to know exactly when to do something to get the biggest reaction. And to do that, you have to be a great wrestler in the first place.
Yeah.
I know this match will have taken place somewhere, but I do want to see him versus Brady Phillips at some point.
I bet that's happened.
I'm sure it will have.
It must have. And I'm sure it will happen again. But
Now,
yeah, I think he's great. And he's probably going to hear this and think, what the fuck? But yeah.
Yeah, totally. From his time as a tag team, Project Ego to main eventing and just all around, as you say, from everything we hear from guys, he is one of the greats to work with. Now, alongside Martin Kirby, you've had the opportunity to work with former NXT UK star, former Jack Stars, now Jack Sellstrom. What's it been like working with him and having him backstage and feedback that he can provide?
He's a nice human. He's very quiet though. But yeah, I actually wrestled him in my first year of wrestling, and it was the scariest experience of my life. Because he's very intense, and I think the run he's had in Pew backs that up. And he's another one that's very good to be around, because he will give you that feedback, give you that help. I just haven't had the opportunity to properly work with him yet, so I'm hoping that comes up in the future.
I'm sure it will.
I mean, the first time at the newer venue for Pew that we were there, he had stitches in his head. Can you remember?
Yeah.
Asked him how he did it. He went, an intense lockup. Like, that's how intense the man is. Like,
don't get into a lockup with Jack Sellstrom. He had a great run on NXT UK just towards the end, and it's good to see PW allowing him to be his new self, something that he wasn't able to do at NXT UK.
I don't think he was given a fair shot at NXT UK personally. Like, they had him from practically the beginning. Like,
so many wasted talents when you look at all the people they actually had and how many people that they actually pushed and actually gave championship runs and have sent on to NXT.
I think, in my opinion, and I'm not going to ask you this because you have to meet these people and talk to them, and I don't think I'll ever meet this person. The person who I think had the best turnaround and the best change in NXT UK was Shah Samuels.
Yeah.
The shape he got himself into, he was already doing amazing matches and interviews, but he was able to show it on a bigger thing. I think Shah Samuels probably did the best out of NXT UK.
Yeah, like, I didn't actually watch a lot of NXT UK in the end, but his stuff was always popping up on Facebook, because it was entertaining and people were sharing and liking it that were mutuals with me, and it was one of the few things that you actually got to see. So
Him and Sam Gradwell.
yeah, calling people yogurts and everyone going mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, them just it was one of the few things that would pop up, and he completely changed the shape of his body, which is a lot harder than people think it is. Right, I 100% agree.
Now, talking about changes in body, I've noticed a change in yours over the last year.
I've been trying.
You are working out.
I'm trying. I'm not gonna lie, I struggle with food. I always have. I've been overweight my entire life. But I've tried to use it in a way where I can sort of make myself stronger. And then over the past 6 months, I've been working with Kyle Kingsley, who's been helping me sort of sort my shit out. He's been doing me workout plans to increase my strength. He's been doing me workout plans to increase my stamina, to work on fatigue training. He's tried to help me with my diet, and I'll be honest, that's more on me than him because I like food. But it has improved. And he's also been there as a constant mate because it's no secret that I suffer with quite heavy anxiety and depression. And he's one of a few that will give me a kick up the arse without being an arse. And he's one of the people that's helped me get in that headspace of I can do this, I will do this. And it has helped me. I'm a lot stronger than I used to be. I still get sad when I see photos of myself, but not as sad. Like, yeah, there's a few people that I can list off as helping me not just in wrestling, but just all round. Become friends that I hope to keep around for a long time, even after wrestling. Kyle Kingsley is one of them. Oh, he's gonna hate me for this. Joey Scott's another one. Without him, I would have quit wrestling during lockdown. I wasn't coming back. And more recently, since I've been back with elevation training, Joe Connors has been nothing but a supportive human with my anxiety and very much the self-doubt of thinking I'm shit constantly. And not just them three people, but they've been a big thing lately. And it does help when my head's better and I can go to the gym and feel better. And then I've got people like TJ Sky, who I'm teaming with at the next Pew. And there's a reason for that, because he's one of my closest friends. And I think we're going to surprise people by how well we work together. And there's people like Kieran Young, and I could keep listing people because wrestling has helped me in so many ways.
You are hugely loved by the fans at PEW, aren't you? I mean, you got to be, I'd say, the number one babyface. I know that position-wise, it should be Jack, but I think the fans actually probably like you more.
Didn't he win the PEW award?
Yeah. So the secret is that I'm a massive twat.
But worked for Charles Crowley.
Yeah.
You're their massive twat.
I like having fun. I like enjoying what I'm doing. And I'm grateful that PE fans have picked up on it. That I get to be the silly twat that runs around the ring in 2 laps and gets gassed and does a little hit dance and comes out to silly music, has a laugh, enjoys it, and the fans enjoy it with me, which makes it even better.
And then when I saw you at Full Force, the fans aren't so keen on you there. And I got to see you do a sneer. Oh my God, you've got a good sneer.
I'm a gay man.
You've got a good sneer.
I'm very good at resting bitch face.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do what I need to do on a show. Well, I try to. I'm not gonna play that much smoke up my ass. I try to. Like, I'm lucky at Pew because I get to have fun and people have joined in with me. And then at Full Force, my job is to be an arsehole. So I'm gonna try and be that arsehole. It's also made it a lot easier that Joey Scott is very good at being liked, and for a 15-minute match, his mum was too.
She was awesome.
Great, isn't she?
Yes.
Mad
And
woman.
And just for people that won't see it, because Full Force isn't immediately accessible to a lot of people, she was really good.
Yeah,
Better than I could.
she gives it a all, and she doesn't have proper training. Joey keeps her safe.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing like that. But it's she wants to help. And in this case, it was doing that. The show before, there was a 15-person gauntlet. No one was announced for it by myself because I was defending the belt. I think it was 90 seconds or 2 minutes, people came out. She came out at like number 9. Crowd went mental. She stood up to Jason Jacobs. And then she got moonsaulted by Joey Scott. And then she came backstage and without even blinking went, "Need me in the ribs, you dickhead." And she's amazing because she doesn't have to do any of this. She is a 59-year-old woman and she does it because she enjoys Full Force, because she wants to help her son, because she enjoys being around the wrestling.
She needs her own t-shirt.
Yeah, yes, she does. It's annoying because she's going to take off more than all of us.
So for Super Strong Style 16, Joey Scott's
Diane Scott, yeah. She'll go in and kill them. She's the new Gunther. If you saw that slap at the end of the match, she might be. Did you see that? Oh my God. Oh, I mean, he deserved it, but Jesus.
Well, that's what you get for what was it, kneeing her in the ribs at the last show.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I want to talk about this luchador wrestler that recently turned up at FUTR Wrestling by the name of El Helio del Unicorno. What can you tell me about this person?
It's my Mexican cousin. He's a bit of a dickhead.
He's got good taste in tattoos.
He just likes to copy me. Yeah, just likes to copy me. I get tattoos, he gets tattoos. I learn to wrestle, he learned to wrestle. I switched to singlets, he switched to singlets. He's just an asshole. He only turns up where I'm not allowed though, because he's scared of me. But yeah, he pops up, makes a massive tool of himself, and then disappears for 4 weeks. Don't hear anything, no texts, no calls,
Rude.
nothing. And then he'll pop up again at Future Wrestling and just embarrass the Joshua name.
Terrible.
He nearly fainted in the ring at the weekend. Just ran laps and then fell over.
Not good enough, really, is it? He just
didn't even hit a move in a 15-minute match. Didn't even hit a move.
Wow.
Yeah. Absolute idiot.
Now, I don't know if you ever caught our interview, well, the interview I did with Ian Skinner last year.
I did not.
You did not. Well, he told me about this fever pitch dream that he had of a match idea between Jason Joshua, Jay Joshua, and Joshua James. What do you think of this matchup?
No, because they would kick the shit out of me. But I would enjoy it for the whole announcing it right and commentary.
I'd balls that up.
Yeah, I'm not
I
providing
wouldn't.
commentary
It's
for
my
that
name.
match.
Yeah. No, they'd kick shit out of me. Like, there's no nicer way of saying it. Them lads are built. Like,
yeah,
I'm good
good. You're gonna keep to your section of Brit Wres
for now.
for now.
I'd like the match purely to mess with commentary.
Now, talking about kicking the shit out of people,
Yes.
you've been involved in some pretty hardcore matches
Yes.
over the last few years. You've taken some fairly hellacious bumps. I believe you've taken thumbtack bumps as well.
I have. I debuted for Kumite last year.
Now, pumpkin. You took a pumpkin to the head once.
I did.
Now,
yeah.
Andy hates deathmatch wrestling. It's not his bag. He's a bit of a wuss as far as deathmatch wrestling goes.
Yeah. It's squeamish.
Yeah. I believe you have your first ever, and possibly only ever, deathmatch coming up soon.
I do. It's not officially announced.
I won't say where it is, and I won't say who it's against, but I will ask a couple of questions, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
How do you get the headspace knowing that you're going to be going in for strikes from things as opposed to people? Strikes that are uncontrolled and items that won't apologize to you later.
I don't have a real answer. It's going to sound really, really silly because of the situations of the death matches and hardcore matches, street fights, whatever you want to call them. Trust. Like, let's be honest, everyone knows what wrestling is. And I wouldn't go in there and do some of the silly shit I've done if I didn't trust the person doing it to me. I'm not going to go in there with someone that I don't have the faith in to, at least in some way, protect me, because I'm not making stupid amounts of money to do this. I have a day job. I have a partner. I have a puppy. Like, I have things that need looking after outside of wrestling. I'm not going in there unless I trust that person. That and I'm a dumbass. Like, the amount of time I've wrestled Joey Scott in 2 street fights in separate companies, and he'll say something to me, and I will stand there and I will nod my head and go, "Yeah, all right." And then it happens. And then I went to Kumite, and Voodoo.
Yep.
Is the nicest woman I think I've ever met. Delightful human. And when she turned around with a big smile and said, "Thanks for doing thumbtacks," I'd have nodded my head and went, "All right." My partner was pissed. He's not happy when I take the bigger, sillier bumps, but it's fun. Like, yeah, I don't know why it is. Sometimes you just got to go with it. Say you've done it.
Yeah. No, I can completely 100% understand that.
I couldn't do what deathmatch wrestlers do. I couldn't do it every week, every other week. No. But I want to give it a go.
Talking about deathmatch wrestlers, I want to see Clint Margera doing more in regular matches as well. He's fantastic.
a lot of UK deathmatch guys can completely wrestle without the deathmatch stipulation.
Mm.
They just enjoy it. Antonio Gonzalez, fucking amazing wrestler. Like Big Joe can go.
Yeah.
Donnie Darko can go. Like
Drew Parker is one of the best wrestlers on the scene.
Drew Parker. Alton Thorne, who's taken off for the deathmatch stuff, but he can wrestle. He just had a belter of a match at Future against Act 2. Like, it's just, they enjoy it. There's a passion for it. Speak to Alton Thorne about deathmatch wrestling, Antonio Gonzalez about deathmatch wrestling. They love it.
I
And
would like
it's,
to do that.
We should maybe get a deathmatch wrestler on for you to interview as we'll let you pick one out.
I can recommend you a list of them. They're great people.
I will take you up on that.
Now, I want to touch on something that may be a bit of a tough subject to talk about and things, and it's from a tweet that you actually put out earlier today about the rise of homophobic slurs at wrestling shows and what promotions can do to help try and stamp this out. And also, if what are the feelings like when you hear that when you're in the ring, to be honest, because I can't relate. So
I've been quite lucky. I've just hit 6 years of wrestling and I've never really had to deal with it. Not knowingly anyway. But last couple of months, it seems to be cropping up again. And it's not always aimed at me, but I do wear the unicorns on my arms. I call myself Big Daddy Unicorn. I don't hide that I'm queer, but it's just I've noticed it a bit more lately. Pew had to tell someone that basically it's not on and they're not welcome back, and they did instantly. And I didn't find out till afterwards because my hearing's not that great. It happened recently at the weekend, and the promotion instantly sorted it. Like, fans aren't getting away with it, but it doesn't mean they should be doing it.
no,
Like, promoters are banning people, they are asking people to leave, they're doing the right thing. Wrestlers are banning people, they are telling people to leave because wrestling is a community, and I do have people that look out for me because I shouldn't be called them things, and other gay wrestlers shouldn't be called them things, and other wrestlers that you may think are gay that aren't shouldn't be called them things, and straight wrestlers shouldn't be body shamed or touched when they're at ringside. You wouldn't do it to a stage performance. You wouldn't get up on stage and just touch one of the actors. You wouldn't, people do, but you wouldn't shout slurs to people when they're performing in other things. So it's no different in wrestling. There's a silly chant and then there's abuse.
yeah.
Like, have fun, don't be a dickhead.
And there's a brilliant plethora of young queer wrestlers coming through at the moment. We've got some amazing guys coming up, and irrelevant of their sexuality, irrelevant of their gender, we've got some amazing wrestlers coming up.
Yeah.
A couple of them I've
Just
met
not
recently.
willing to hide it anymore.
Yeah, and that's great. My daughter saw a young guy recently, whose name is just complete Shauna say, oh God.
Sky Ashore.
Thank you, yes. For the first time. And absolutely fell in love with him. And he was the nicest guy to her backstage as well. He's just absolutely amazing. There's so many other people that I want to mention, but I'm not going to because I don't know whether they're out or not online. So I'm not going to say names, but there's so many great, great young people coming through.
Yeah.
Talking about young people, who do you think is a few good examples of the young crop of British wrestlers coming up at the moment?
I hate that I'm going to say this. Adam Bolt, 100% number one.
Great talent.
Annoyingly good. You only have to watch the latest few shows should be out soon, and you only have to watch him in that. He
Stole the
gave
show.
absolutely everything and went from a "Who are you?" chant, and within 20 minutes had the entire crowd chanting his name.
Adam Bolt and Shay Monet absolutely tore it up at TNT Extreme that I got to see live. It was such a great match.
Shay Monet just blowing up out of well, not out of nowhere. They've worked their arse off for a while. I can list off amazing gay wrestlers. Joey Scott. Joey Scott, the wrestler, is straight. Joey Scott, the person, whose real name I'm not going to use, is a gay man. One of my closest friends. And like it's amazing to see people like Visage. Like just people like that. It doesn't count to the UK, but Effie, who has made it.
We've got a big gay brunch this year, TNT Extreme. I'm assuming you sent your CV off immediately.
I did.
I would love to go there. I really want to go to that show.
Do it.
It's Eurovision.
I am a local councillor, and local elections are the first week in May, and I am running around like a blue arse whatsit, trying to make sure that Labour win in a very blue area.
I mean, day jobs come first, but do it. Do it anyway.
We've been up to a few TNT shows, and they are lovely people up there. They're really, really nice. And I have seen Effie work live, and great wrestler.
Just back to the UK.
Sorry,
Going off on a tangent about gay wrestlers again, and up and coming people, Adam Bolt, George Lydon, who's already smashing it, and knows they're smashing it. CJ Rollins is finally getting noticed on places like Crystal Carnival and things like that, and it's deserved because the lad's great. Joey Scott, because he's really good at what he does, and I don't know how he isn't on bigger shows. And I get that I'm biased because he's one of my friends, but he's great. TJ Sky is another one. He's had to slow down because he exploded his knee, but he's great, and he's come back now. Like, it's still great. Wears way too much vapor rub when he wrestles, but he's great. Brady Phillips, who's insane.
Just insanely good.
The issue is I can list a load of people and guarantee I'll forget one, but I didn't mean to because there's so many great wrestlers now. Like Ivy, whose gimmick's insane at the minute. That video that she posted online about my 36 friends will see this and you'll all get fired. Genuine loud laughter. There's Next Level who wrestle at Elevation. It's Antonio Gonzalez and Tyler Owens, although they've just had a falling out at Elevation. So there's stuff like that. But there's so many people, I can keep listing them. I enjoy wrestling and I enjoy seeing all these people smashing it.
Brit Wres, more great wrestlers.
Riviera, even. Insane. Like, I can keep going, but it's going to end up being an hour of just me listing these amazing people that I get to be around.
Brit Wres, more great wrestlers per capita than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. 100%. The UK has so many amazing wrestlers, and a lot of them get to go out to Europe now. More of them are making it into America. Like, they do that because the UK has great wrestlers. Like,
it's why the Americans want to come here and the Japanese. But for yourself, if you had a choice of going for a 3-month tour of Japan, America, or Europe, where would you go?
probably say Europe because I'm a 29-year-old that has never been abroad. Um, so I'd like to change that one day. And if that happens through wrestling, that'd be great. The issue is I don't travel very well, which is why I've never been abroad. Um, Dan will know my partner comes to nearly every show with me. Um, it's because I suffer with quite bad anxiety. Um, I spent 2 years being unable to leave my house. And then it started to get better when I started wrestling. And then lockdown kicked me between the legs as hard as it possibly could and basically reset everything that I was doing. So in the last year and a half, I've gone from not being able to sit in a car to traveling 2 hours to shows. So I'm hoping, as long as I can keep going, to one day get on that plane, get to another country, just wrestle once. And it's more than I would ever have thought I was going to do.
I'm going to do two things here. Firstly, I didn't know whether I was allowed to mention your partner or not. I'm just going to mention him quickly. Met him backstage a few times. Really lovely person. I'm not saying that because you're on here. I'm not saying that because he's your partner. I'm saying that because I met him and he's a really lovely person. I liked him a lot. Andy has travelled to Germany for wrestling to watch WXW. And you can get in your car and go on the Eurotunnel and drive that way. I think you could have a blast in WXW. I think they could do some good things with you.
Yeah,
I'd
WXW.
love to make it abroad one day. I've just got to get there.
Mhm.
And I just want to go back to my partner because he's not going to hear this because it's going to sound ridiculous. My partner is called Ben. I won't give you his full name for obvious reasons. I have been with Ben for 7 years. I got with him when I was 21, when I was not in a good place. The anxiety and stuff put me in bad place. It still does, but to the extent I didn't think I was going to reach 25. Ben came along and just sort of made it worth it. He pushed me to do wrestling because he knew that it meant a lot to me to at least try. He comes to the shows every weekend with me because he knows I would struggle to travel on my own. He helps put the ring up even when he's not asked to. He helps put the ring down. Future this past weekend, the lady that does the doors was ill, so Ben took over and did the doors. He's worked security on shows. He's done everything. He's sat in the crowd and got the chants going when a show's been a bit quiet. And he does it all because he loves me, because he fucking hates wrestling. And I've been with this man for 7 years. I will be with this man for the rest of my life, whether he likes it or not. We are engaged to be married at some point. And I honestly believe that he is the reason that I am still alive.
Well, I'll tell you now, 100%, I'm doing your wedding disco for free. Ben is an awesome human being, and he is a credit to a industry that he might not like, but the industry likes him.
Yeah. Oh God.
I like the fact that you can speak on your anxiety as well quite openly, because mental health is so important, and there are so many people that do struggle with variety of issues, be it anxiety or anything. I know because my partner suffers from severe anxiety. She, for a while, she couldn't leave the house unless she was accompanied by me. It didn't matter who, we would say, go out your friends. It just wouldn't. She just... But now she's walking the dog by herself, and it's a road to recovery. And it's great to hear from yourself those type of experiences to help overcome and do so more. And hopefully you can influence other people that may have thought about themselves in that way and figured, wrestling is a great escape. and I think more people, if they need to, should follow in your footsteps.
Wrestling's amazing. Like, I'm not going to say it's perfect. We all know it's not. But I wouldn't have half the people in my life without wrestling. Like, it's done so much for me. And wrestling's done so much for me because my partner's done so much for me. So I will always say how amazing he is.
I've met very few dicks in wrestling. Generally, everyone has been really nice, especially to someone like me who doesn't deserve to be there because I have no training at all. I'm just there as a gob. Yeah.
Although you get yourself heat with plenty of wrestlers out there. Although apparently I got heat this time. We weren't happy with the way I reviewed.
Worded it because I'm petty and up my own bottom. And you didn't technically word anything wrong. I'm just me. But yeah,
I feel like I should have given you more credit in the match. I did say sort of like between yourself and Martin Kirby, you came off like a real contender for the championship. But yeah, you really pulled out. That was a fantastic main event match. And what I meant was, yes, you're somebody who should be main eventing more often and challenging for more championships.
I'll take the mick, but it was Kirby completely pulling it out of me. Like, he helped so much. They all did. All the entitled, all fused faith in me to actually do this stuff. Like, it's a good year and a half since it's been nearly 2 years since lockdown ended. It's been good since lockdown ended. I've had the opportunity to grow more than ever.
You've only missed one PEW show. If you've nearly, I think you're one of the probably done the most shows at PEW.
Yeah, I missed.
It was the second show, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I've only missed one.
Third. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm there, and it looks like I'll continue to be there, and I really enjoy it there.
I'm a little bit terrified because I've upset two wrestlers there. As you saw this time, Riley Nova is definitely not happy with the way I announce him. He is not a happy camper. And when he comes back from his injury, there's a former internet champion whose name just escapes me.
It's the one and only H. Hood.
Both men that can kick the crap out of you.
Yep. I am looking forward to seeing H. Hood and you in the ring at the same time as you announce him.
I'm not.
I'm very much looking for. I can't wait to see the interaction. Full fair play, Hatred is a fantastic guy. He really is, and a phenomenal young competitor. And hopefully he'll come back through injury. But you can definitely check out Jason Joshua over at PEW Phenomenal Elite Wrestling because every single one of their shows is available for free on YouTube. On two of them, you'll hear myself and Dan providing commentary. On two of them, you'll hear Dan doing the announcing. So, where can they find your t-shirts?
Currently, nowhere. Because I was part of a website that recently shut down. I'm currently getting my logo slightly redesigned. When that's done, I'm planning to get some printed. So just keep an eye out on my socials because there are Big Daddy Unicorn t-shirts coming.
Excellent.
So yes, make sure you go follow Big Daddy Unicorn on Twitter, on the socials. Make sure you support him as a wrestler, support wrestling as a whole, independent wrestling, British wrestling, European wrestling, all of the wrestling, and just don't feed the trolls.